Hey guys, welcome back to another tutorial. Today I'll be sharing with you guys how I made this beautiful Agbada kimono with drawstring. So please, if this is something you're interested in, please keep on watching and let's get started. So I'm going to be using 3 yards of fabric for this kimono because I want it to be big and it's like an Agbada kimono. So if you want to use bigger, you can use maybe 4 yards. So I will show you guys how I folded mine. So I folded my fabric into 2. Then I divided my bust circumference by 4. So my bust circumference divided by 4 is about 9.5 inches. I went ahead to mark it. Then I added extra 13 inches to it. So this is how big the kimono will be. So if you don't want yours to be this big, you can just measure your bust circumference by 4 and add maybe 10 or 9 inches extra to it. But mine is 13 inches. So now I'm going to be measuring the length of this kimono, and I already marked my shoulder line. So I placed my tape on my shoulder line and I went ahead to mark about 35 inches for the length of the kimono. So after marking that 35 inches, because this kimono is going to be having a drawstrings, I added extra 12 inches to it, including my hemming allowance. So I marked 35 first. Then from that 35 inches, I came down to mark extra 12 inches. So this is the 12 inches I'm marking, including my sewing allowance. So this will be the extra for the drawstring. So like I mentioned earlier, we're going to be cutting out the back first, and right now I'll place my tape on this shoulder line and mark 3 inches for my neck width. So I'll come down by 1.5 inches for my neck depth. So this is for the back. So now I'll just go ahead and use my ruler to connect it. Then I'll make a slight curve. So at this point, I'll be marking the sleeve length of this kimono, and what I'll do is I'll just place my tape on my neck width like so, and I'll mark 18 inches. The full length is 20 inches, but because I'm going to be adding a black fabric to it, I minus 2 inches, so that's why it's 18 inches. So from that 18 inches I marked, I'll come down by 1 inch for my shoulder slope. So I'll go ahead and mark 1 inch downwards like so. So the next thing I'll do is I'll take my ruler and use it to connect that 1 inch I came down by to my neck width. So now I'm going to be marking the armhole, and I'll place it on my shoulder slope like so, and I'll mark 14 inches for my armhole. So this is how wide I want my armhole to be. So if you don't want yours to be as wide as this, you can use 10 inches or 9 inches, but I'm using 14 inches for mine. So at this point, I'll go ahead and connect my shoulder slope to my armhole with a straight line like so. So from that armhole measurement I took, I'm going to come in by 2 inches. So I'll just mark that 2 inches like so, and I'll use my chalk to connect. Then I'll take my ruler and I'll mark a straight line all the way down. If you want yours to have a curve or maybe at the hip, you can go ahead and measure your hip and add extra allowance to it. But for me, I'll just go ahead and mark a straight line all the way down. So right now we're going to be making a curve here like so, just a slight curve. Sorry, I already marked it, but I'm going to be showing you guys how I did this. So I just made a slight curve, and that is that for that side. So what I'll do now is to add half an inch to the shoulder slope for my allowance so it doesn't come out short. So I'll just add half an inch all the way like so. Then I'll use my ruler to connect. So we are done drafting the back pattern and we'll be cutting it out. So before I cut out the armhole, I'm going to be adding half an inch to this part. So the half an inch is for joining the black fabric to the armhole. So make sure you add half an inch before you cut. So at this point, I'll be cutting out the front piece of this kimono, and as you can see, my fabric is on fold. So what I'll just do is I'll just place the back piece of the kimono on top of the front like so. So I'm just going to place it on top and I'll cut it out. So as you can see, I placed my fabric on fold before placing the back piece on top. So make sure your fabric is on fold before cutting out. So I'm going to be cutting it out before I cut out the neck. So I just cut out the front piece before cutting out the neck. So if you notice, when I got to the neck part, I didn't cut it out. I just made a notch there so that I will know where to cut the neck from when I'm cutting the front. So it doesn't really matter. You can cut it out exactly as it is at the back. But for me, I'll just leave it like this. So make sure you make a notch or you make a mark at that part, or you even cut it out so that you know where to start from when cutting out the neck width of the front. Sorry, the neck depth for the front. So right now I'll take off my back pattern so that you can cut out the neck for the front pattern. So remember we left half an inch for sewing allowance at the shoulder, so I'll come down by that half an inch and I'll be marking 8 inches for my neck depth at the front. So I'll just go ahead and mark it like so. So right now I'll take my hip curve and I'll use it to make a curve here like so. So I'll place it on that half an inch I came down and I'll use it to make a slight curve to the 8 inches I came down by. So this is going to be the neck width for the front. So now I'm going to mark it all the way down, but I'll be leaving about 1 inch by the side to trim it out. So just watch how I'm doing it. So I'm just going to mark 1 inch like so, and I will mark it all the way down like so. So I'm going to be cutting that out after marking. So that's the only alteration I'll be doing for the front, and I'll just go ahead and cut it out like so. So we are done cutting the front piece, and this is how it will look. So if I place the back like so and I place the front of it on top of it, this is how it's going to look. So now I'll be joining the shoulder of the front and back piece together. So I'll just place them on top of each other and I will use half an inch to join them. So this is exactly what I have after joining it. This is how it looks like. I also went ahead to overlock. So remember I said I was going to add an extra black material to the sleeve. So right now I'm going to be cutting it out. So this is the black fabric. I'm using a satin fabric. So this is what I'm going to be using to cut it. So the first thing I'll do is that I'll measure from one side of the sleeve to the other side. So you see the way I opened it, I'll just use my tape rule to measure what I have on the back side all the way to the front side of the sleeve. So as I can see, I have about 26.5 inches. So that's the length I'll be cutting out. So now I'll be cutting the black material out, and as you can see I folded my fabric into two like so. So now I'm going to be dividing that 26.5 into two. It will give me about 13.25. So that 13.25 is what I'm going to measure as the length of my sleeve. Remember the sleeve is on fold, that's why we are using 13.25. So right now I'll mark that 13.25 here like so. So I'm going to go ahead and mark it all the way up. So right now for the length of the sleeve, I'm going to be marking 5 inches. This is inclusive of the allowance. So if I fold it into two, it's going to be about 2.5 inches. That's including half an inch for the allowance. So right now I'm marking 5 inches all the way like so. So just follow what I'm doing. I'm using 2 inches for the length of the sleeve. This is because it's going to be on fold. But right now we're cutting 5 inches inclusive of the allowance. Sorry. So right now I'll use my ruler to connect. So right now I'll just go ahead and cut it out. So remember I said it's going to be folded into two. So this is what it's going to look like. This is how we're going to join it to the sleeve. So we're going to be cutting out 2 pieces of this. So now I'll just fold it and I'll go ahead and iron it. So this is what it looks like after ironing. So right now I'm going to bring the material. So I'll place this black fabric on the sleeve like so. So I'll place it on the sleeve and I will use about half of an inch to join it together. So I'll use half an inch to join. So this is what I have after joining. I just need to iron it. So now we're going to be using the same satin fabric we used for the sleeve. We're going to be using it at the neck all the way to the hem of the dress. So what I'll do is I'll just take my tape roof right from the hem and measure what I have all the way around to the other side of the hem. So I'll just take my time to do this. So you can see that when I go to this part, I have 60 already. So right now I'll place my tape rule again from number 1 inch and continue again all the way down. So what I got there is 44. So if I add 60 to 44, it will give me 104. So is that 104 that we'll be cutting out now? So I'll be cutting out the fabric I'll be using for the neck all the way down to the hem, and I'll be marking the same 5 inches I marked for the sleeve. So I'll go ahead and mark it all the way like so. So remember, the whole length we're going to be using is 104. So if your fabric is not as long as 104, you can cut it into 2 and join the remaining with it. So you can see that what I have here is about 58 inches when I measured it. So I'm going to be cutting another piece of that together to make it 2, and we're going to be joining it together. So this is what I have, and I'll take it to my sewing machine to join it. So I'm going to be using about half of an inch to join it together. So right now, if I fold it into 2 and I measure it, you can see that I have 2.5. So the extra half an inch is what we are going to use to join. And right now, I went ahead to iron, and this is what it looks like. So at this point, I'll be joining the black piece to my kimono, and what I'll do right now is I'll fold this part into 2 like so. That's the neck. I'll make sure it matches to each other. Then I'll go ahead and make a notch here like so. So this will be easy for me to locate where I want to start from. So now I'll place that part that I joined. You can see that part I joined. I'm going to place it on top of my kimono. So I'm going to be placing it from the outside. That's from the right side. I'm going to be placing it on top like so, and I'll join it all the way around. So this is what I have after joining it. This is what it looks like. So I'm going to trim out the excess. So now, because we're going to be adding a drawstring to this kimono, I'm not going to join it yet. The first thing I'll do now is that I'm going to go ahead and hem it. So I'll just close the hem. I'll fold the 2 inches that I left for allowance. I'll do that to the front part and to the back. So after doing that, that's when I will now join the 2 sides together. So I'm done doing that, and this is what I have. So right now I'm going to be joining these 2 sides together. That's the front and back part. I'm going to be joining it together, and I'm going to be using 1 inch to join it all the way down. We are using 1 inch because we are going to be adding a drawstring, so we need enough allowance, enough space for the drawstring to enter. So I'll use 1 inch to join both sides. So I'm done joining, and I also added a pocket to mine. So if you want to add a pocket to yours as well, you can do that. I didn't make a video of that anyways. So right now, before I make a casing for my drawstring, I'll go ahead and cut out the drawstring first. So as you can see, I already cut out my drawstring. The length is about 20 inches and the width is about 1 inch. So right now, I'll just fold it into 2 and go ahead and join it. So please note that you'll be cutting out 4 pieces of this drawstring. 2 pieces will be for each side. So now I'm going to be creating the casing for it, and I'll go ahead and mark the 10 inches I left when we were drafting this pattern. I'll mark it here like so, and I will advise you use about 12 or 13 inches for yours, because I realized that the 10 inches I used was not giving the drawstring effect I wanted. So I advise you use about 13 inches. So now I'll go ahead and place it inside the casing. That's my drawstring. I'll place it inside the casing like so, and I'll just take it to my sewing machine and join the upper part to the drawstring and join the sides as well. Please make sure when you are joining the sides, you don't join it with the drawstring. It's only the upper part you need to join. Don't join the sides with the drawstring. So after attaching the drawstring, this is what it looks like, and if I drag it a little bit, you see the drawstring effect, and that is that for this dress. All I need to do is just iron, and we've come to the end of today's tutorial. Please, if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like and share, and if you've not subscribed to my channel, don't forget to do so. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in my next video. Bye.